Hello again, everyone. Um, I'm having some technical issues, to say the least, today. This is going to be about the third time I've tried to record this, and I've been inside, I've been outside. It's kind of breezy outside, and there's a bunch of noise, but then my husband is putting together a grill, and my daughters are working online in the house. So I'm actually in my bathroom recording this. I hope it goes okay. But I wanted to talk about the Indiana licensure process, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. So here we go with the third attempt. On my iPad, you can see the Indiana Gov website, PLA, Professional Licensing Agency, pla.in.gov. That's where you'll want to start. You can also Google Indiana Health Professions Bureau. And then there's an option to for professions on the menu. So you go ahead and hit that, and then you find physical therapy. Then you will get a screen that looks something like this. So this is the Indiana Physical Therapy Board website page. There are links for the physical therapist and physical therapist assistant applications. I'm going to go down to the application for applicants and choose that by examination. So then you're gonna see a page that looks like this, and this is probably backwards on the screen, I'm just realizing, but sorry, hopefully you're getting the idea here. But it talks about the application by exam, which is what you want. You don't want endorsement. Endorsement means that you're transferring from a different state. Now, you can take the exam in a different state. It's where you apply for licensure is where you're going to get your original license from. And I usually say if you want to work in Indiana to start with, then you should apply to Indiana. If you want to work in Illinois to start with, you should apply to Illinois or whatever other state that you are interested in. But it talks about the fee information. The professional licensing agency, you're going to send $100 to the professional licensing agency with your application. And then the federation, the FSBPT, gets their portion. That's the big cost, $485 to the federation, and then a $50 application fee to Prometric, which is the Sylvan Learning Center, where you will physically take the exam. And so under the required documents, I'm going to select application. And again, I want application by examination, and it will pull up this page. I have also uploaded this particular document onto Blackboard, so you can print it off and you can see it. I'm just going to go through here, but again, I'm thinking that this is probably recording with the information flipped, the image. But in the top right hand corner is where is the address for the licensing agency. That's where you're going to send your transcript from Vincennes University. And I have left a blank transcript form in the course documents. It's in a folder under how to apply for licensure. And I have also done a sample. So you want to choose the third line down that you want your transcript sent after your degree has been posted. And then in the address to where you want it to go to, if you're applying for Indiana, then it's that licensure, that address in the upper right-hand corner. You will notice on the form that it says for office use only, for a little box, so you don't do anything with that. And then you're gonna see where it wants your photo. So normally we would have had you do your picture on campus that first day back. But since we weren't able to do that, then you need to go to Walgreens or CVS and ask for a passport photo. And you're going to affix it in that little box. I think probably super glue would work just fine. And then you're gonna go through, the process is pretty self-explanatory. Your name, address, make sure that you use an email that you check frequently, because that's how they're gonna notify you of things. So it asks you a series of questions. Under basis for licensure, you wanna check that you're applying for license by examination. You're gonna take the exam. Physical therapist assistant, then it asks you a few other questions. It asks you if you want a temporary permit. Usually we don't recommend that you do temporary permits. You do have to pay an extra $50, and there's some other requirements involved with that. Especially now, I don't know that it would really benefit you that much unless you already have a job. But there's some extra documentation. It does take away from your study time and that sort of thing. So it's going to ask you some other locations or some other questions. Obviously, the name of your school, Vincennes University, Vincennes, Indiana. The date of graduation, you can use the Friday, May 22nd, 2020. The university calendar did get set back a week, so we're just using that Friday after finals. Then it's going to ask you for any undergraduate and graduate training. So if you have like a exercise science degree or another degree, you're going to list that. And then starting on page 2, if you have a licensure from any other state or for any other profession, so like a CNA license or a cosmetology license, any of those types of things, you want to list that. It's asking you for the state and the license type and your number, the date that it was issued. Current status would be like if it's active or inactive. And then places of employment since graduation. This would be if you're working right now, like if you're working as a tech somewhere, or you're working at a grocery store or a supermarket, or a supermarket, or at the mall or whatever. You're going to want to list that. And then the places that you've lived, it says since graduation, so it'll probably be the address that you're living at now, unless you've moved. And then it goes through a series of very important questions that are basically asking you about disciplinary action if you've been convicted of any sort of misdemeanor or felony. It is very important that you are obviously honest. I've had some students in the past who have had DUIs and things like that, but it's very specific about except for minor violations related to traffic laws, or if your record has been expunged by a court, then you have to report this. So you are going to be having a criminal background check, and so you must be honest here, or you can be charged with perjury, and then obviously you probably would not receive your license. And then it just asks you to affirm that all information is correct, and sign and date, and then authorization to release information. So, and then you sign and date that. So you're gonna fill out the application, and you need to contact Vincennes University to get your transcript sent. again, I have a blank form under course documents. You could also, I think, do that online. I'm not really sure how that's done, but so you can get those two things done now. You need to go ahead and do that by the end of this week. Your transcript request form and your application with the $100 sent. Then from that point in time, the state will send you back an approval that your application has been received and it's been approved and you're ready to go. At that point, you will need to sign up through fsbpt.org. And again, that website is linked into the Indiana page or any state that you're applying to. I think that you may be able to do, you may be able to do some things on the front end and just, wait for the state to get back with you. But I don't know that that's going to help really that much. But be checking for your emails, because as soon as you get approved, then you're going to need to contact the FSBPT. You've got to pay for that, $485. And then they will release you and give you permission to apply to a Prometric testing center, which is basically a Sylvan Learning Center. And again, be checking your emails frequently because, and on the Prometric website, there lists all of their locations. I have had some students who have had to go to Louisville and take the exam because the seats were all taken around here. So make sure that you're on top of that. Also on the Federation, the fsbpt.org website, it has all of the date information. So there are deadlines, and I think, it comes up pretty fast in June that you have to have all of your documents in. So I would definitely get going on this. This is April 21st. I would be getting this done, getting the application and transcript done. I would be getting that done this week, probably no later than Friday of this week, and get the process rolling. Now, the other thing that you're going to be waiting on is for the state to send you an email that you're ready for a criminal background check. And I apologize. I know some of you had to have criminal background checks for your clinicals, but the state of Indiana won't accept those. They have their own system, and that does involve fingerprinting. And so again, on this website, you can look on the sidebar and hit criminal background information, and it will go through the steps that you have to do to complete that. But you can't get that done until they send you a confirmation email, and that will cost some money. So that, in a nutshell, is the Indiana process. The Illinois process, I believe everything is online. There are additional documents for Illinois. Illinois, everything is always more, it seems like, bureaucratic. But I have posted a web link, and I also posted instructions on the Blackboard page if you are interested in an Illinois license. You can follow those steps. There are additional forms. I know there's one called an ED form, and actually I've got to sign that. But the secretaries have my signature, my electronic signature, so that if I'm not there and you stop by this summer, you can get that taken care of. You can email it to me, and I could sign it and scan it and send it back. So I think the major thing is to make sure that you get your transcript request form and each state will have their own physical therapy board. So if you're applying to Illinois, then you're going to have your transcript sent to the address that Illinois lists, or, you know, Kentucky, or Oregon, or Arizona, wherever it is. Each state has their own physical therapy board. And so, you know, if you're going to a different state, then I would just Google it, because I don't have all of those different state websites, but you can just Google like Kentucky Board of Physical Therapy, or, you know, Michigan State Board of Physical Therapy, and it will take you there. And then it's really a matter of just reading and following the process. Indiana's happens to be pretty simple, I feel like, really, compared to some other things I've seen. Gosh, I was going to say something else. Oh, if you get your Indiana license and you want to go work in another state, or you're a traveling therapist or something like that, then you have to apply to the next state through reciprocity. You don't usually have to take the state board exam again, but you have to apply. Each state has their own license. And I would just say, and then your license is good for 2 years. And in Indiana, for physical therapy, our license expires every June of the even numbered years. And we do have to have 22 hours of continuing education units to maintain our license now. And then I think it's like a $50 or $100 fee every 2 years to keep your license. So you will want to keep your license active, even if you are, you know, thinking that you're going to get married and start having children, and you're not really sure if you're going to use your degree right away, or even if in 5 years that happens. Make sure that you keep your license active. Otherwise, if you're out for 5 years and you've let it lapse, you've got to take the boards again. And who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do this again. So as long as you keep up your CEUs, you pay your fees, and you fill out the application every 2 years in June, in the even years, your license will stay good. And you can, you know, at that point, you can go ahead and do, if you've not been in the clinic for a while, there's lots of remediation opportunities. I had a friend who had literally been out of the field for like 20 years raising her kids, and she wanted to get back in the clinic. This was before I came to VU. But she came, and she had kept her license up all of those years, and she wanted to get back into practice. And we just kind of did a crash course on therapeutic exercise and manual muscle test and goniometer readings and SOAP notes, you know, just kind of gave her a kind of a very big crash course on here are the basics to get back in the clinic. And actually she ended up doing very well. She went in and worked at a nursing home and was pretty much the lead PTA there. So it didn't take her long to get back into the swing, but if she had let her license lapse, that would have been a completely different story. So even if you don't think you're going to use your license, I would say it's worth keeping up, because life does change. Unexpected things happen. You might not think that you're going to be in the clinic, and then something happens and you really need to be in the clinic for financial reasons, or, you know, just any other, you just really want to get back into it. So I hope that helps. All of the documents are on the Blackboard. Under course documents, there's a folder that says how to apply for licensure. And so once again, let me know if you need anything. I'll be happy to answer your questions about how to apply for licensure.